Today, let's talk about yelling at kids and specifically why it happens so fast and how to stop it. So, I know that you love your kids more than anything in this world, and yet you snap faster than you can even stop yourself sometimes, right? Like 1 second you're trying to be patient, and the next second you hear your own voice getting louder and sharper, and you're thinking, oh no, I did it again, right? Afterwards, you have that parental anger guilt spiral that just sits there like a weight on your chest. You replay it over and over and over in your head. And you promise yourself that you're going to do better tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and it happens all over again. So, mama, if that's you, if you feel like you go from calm to explosion in about 2.5 seconds, I completely feel you there because I have been exactly where you are. And I want you to know something. It's really important, okay? You're not broken, you're not a bad mom, and you're not failing. You're just parenting from a nervous system that is in fight or flight mode. And this is where like gentle parenting meets emotional regulation because nobody taught us how to parent from a regulated place when our own childhoods didn't model that for us. And we see all these gentle parenting tips, and yet it doesn't work out for us. Well, understanding your triggers is the first step. Ask me how I know. And before we dive in, if you're finding value here, make sure you go ahead and hit like and subscribe because we are building a community of moms who are healing while they're parenting, and that is brave work, mamas. So let me tell you about a moment that honestly, it changed everything for me. So I was in the kitchen trying to make dinner, which is, if you have little ones, you know that's basically like an Olympic sport, right? And for me, with ADHD and literally zero cooking skills. I know, it's terrible, but luckily my husband is a personal chef. So the multitasking side of it it's hard for me, okay? And my boys were fighting over a toy in the living room. We have like an open kitchen to the living room. And I had already asked them so many times to work it out. I was trying really hard to focus on what I was doing and trying to stay calm for them. And then I heard one of them hit the other and something inside of me just snapped. And I stormed into the living room and I yelled like full on volume, frustrated, triggered, scary yelling. And the look on their faces, it stopped me cold because they were terrified of me. And I scared myself. And I realized like, oh my gosh, this is not who I want to be. This isn't the mom I'm trying to show up as. So here's what I learned about mom anger. When we yell, it's not because our kids are making us yell. It's because our nervous system has been triggered into fight or flight, probably from something from your childhood and not so much your kids. And when you're in fight or flight, your brain literally, it can't access that calm or logical or patient part of you. You're operating from like survival mode, not connection mode. And the tricky part is that our kids can feel that energy shift and they sense it before we even raise our voice. So they start reacting to our dysregulation, which then escalates their behavior. And now we're in this cycle that just keeps feeding itself. Okay, so let me give you the 5 steps that I use now to interrupt that cycle before I get to the yelling point. And these are what I like to call like quick sprouts because they're simple, they're doable, and they work in real time. So number 1, notice your warning signs. So your body, it will tell you before your mouth does. For me, it's tension in my shoulders and my jaw gets like really, really tight. So it might be for you like your chest getting tight or your breathing getting shallow or more rapid or even a sense of like heat rising up. You got to learn your early warning signs because once you know them, you can catch yourself before you explode. And then number 2, interrupting the spiral. So the second you notice the warning signs, you need to physically interrupt your nervous system. And I'm talking about like that. Take a deep breath, a really big deep breath. Or if you're like me and you hate when people tell you to breathe that deep breaths, then you can do what I did, and that was to grab an ice cube. So anything that kind of shocks you physically or makes you pause physically is going to help you stop the spiral. So grab something cold, like the counter, a water bottle, or a warm, hot mug of something. You can count to 5. You can do the exercise where you think of one thing that you can smell, one thing that you see visually, one thing you hear, all this stuff kind of stops that automatic reaction pattern, right? And then we have step 3, which is using a time mantra. So this one's huge for me. When I feel that irritation rising, I say to myself one short phrase that I've literally like burned into my brain because it's just the same thing that I always say. And it's, this moment matters more. And it reminds me that how I respond right now is shaping how my kids learn to handle their own emotions. And that what I'm about to respond to is probably not even about this moment. It's probably coming from the past. So this one moment matters more than whatever mess they made or whatever they're fighting about, right? And you want to come up with your own mantra for that specific time, okay? Then step 4 is take a safe space exit if you need it, and I usually need it. So if you're past the point of regulating in the moment, it's 100% okay to remove yourself. And you can say, okay, mama needs a break to calm down. I'm going to step into the other room and I'll be right back. And then you actually do it. You step away, you breathe, you reset. Because modeling how to take a break when you're overwhelmed is one of the most powerful things you can teach your kids, right? It's modeling open emotional processing. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll name, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. I'm feeling really overstimulated. I don't want to say something that I regret. I'll be right back, right? So this is teaching them, and it's helping you to also stop that automatic response because just talking about it snaps you out of it, and then you're walking away for a second. And then step 5 is to repair out loud. And at the beginning, when I first started practicing this, I wouldn't even get to any of the other ones successfully. I would just get to this one where it changed everything for me, because even when I do yell now still, because I'm human and it still happens sometimes, I repair. So in the beginning, I just had to keep repairing until I got better at noticing my own triggers, my own signals, and pausing beforehand, right? But if you end up snapping, you get down on their level afterwards and you say, hey, mama yelled and that wasn't okay. I was feeling really frustrated and I didn't use my calm voice. I'm sorry. Let me try it again. Or I could have done this instead of that. Or how do you think I could have done this better? You know, that we repair together. That's where the magic happens. It teaches them that mistakes don't define us, that we can always come back to connection. It teaches them how to take responsibility for their actions and correct behavior, okay, by modeling, right? You don't ever want to pretend to be perfect because kids can't live up to that. And that's a whole nother thing that's going to cause them issues when they're older or while they're young and developing. So now I want to be really clear about something. You are not broken because you yell. You're rewiring patterns that you didn't even choose. These patterns were wired into you before you were 7 years old. And all that rewiring, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens one choice at a time, one moment at a time, one repair you practice at a time. So the next time that you feel yourself heading towards yelling, I want you to try just one of these steps, just one. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to practice. And if you're like me in the beginning, you just practice repair many times until you get better at the other ones, okay? So in the next video, we're going to dive into daily routines, because if every single day feels like just chaos, sprinkled with more chaos, okay? I'm going to show you how to create a flow that actually reduces the meltdowns instead of causing them. And that's going to really help with all of this as well. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video.